This isn't your typical unwatched pile. As you can see, it's a very cold open. No music. It's because it's November. And what do we do in November other than eat ourselves to death? We talk noir. This is the unwatched pile. And this is our stories.
Yeah,
Well,
that was the opening narration. Imagine there was a wide helicopter shot of, like, an urban city,
yes.
and what that was playing over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is November, and what's crazy is that November, I felt, went by so damn fast that I barely had time to even celebrate November, let alone mention it here
Yeah.
on Change Movies, but, of course, noir is something that Steven and I have bonded over the years, and I feel like we celebrate it all the time, hence why Noirvember, um, feels doesn't really feel like the big monumental specific thing that it is for many people. But we're back here for another unwatched pile. We're back here with a noir centric, as you can tell by just the aesthetics.
Yeah,
Black and
we took it a step further this year. Usually, we do this and obviously we make it all about noir, but I was like, this year I'm going to figure out how to make the visual aspect of this just we're going to really set the tone, because that's one of the key things about the genre or the movement or however you want to describe it. It's about the tone, because it really isn't a genre, because like it's more of a movement or an aesthetic, because when we think about film noir, it's always about the themes and
Mhm.
its style is really what sets it apart, because essentially film noirs are either like crime stories or character stories that people going through hard times going through doing tough things, and so yeah, I mean, I wanted to match that with our show. We had to get the visual, and now of course the cold open. So
Very much so, very much so. Yeah, film noir over the years, there's been so much great debate over what it actually is. There's even debates over when it actually started. I mean, I
yeah,
think the more general, traditional time frame for classic noir is 1940 to 1958. Some people try to make the argument that it's more like late 30s, if you will. I saw some lists of noir movies that were movies from the 30s, and I'm like, oh, that's not quite noir. But like you said, Stephen, genre for me is something that's has distinct characteristics, whereas noir is such a mishmash of feeling and tone and theme and aesthetics. It's so unique and so different. And then after the classic period, we have the neo noir period, which I think is kind of, I think, where I went with my picks this
okay,
this time for this month. And just because the neo noir is basically, I think, everything after 1958 you can categorize as neo noir all the way up to modern day. Now there's different classifications or subgenres of noir, if you will. There's like urban setting noir, there's Midwestern noir,
yeah,
East Coast, West Coast. It's like a rap battle, like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's all kinds of stuff, and then noir you can fit into certain, uh, holiday periods, which we will discuss here a little bit later on after we get through the main bulk of the show.
yeah. It's really a malleable kind of thing. And I think it is because it is so versatile. I mean, it's so kind of vague. It's like flubber. It's like the flood. It's like it doesn't. You can almost. It's. I mean, honestly, it's. I mean, you bring up holiday movies. I think it's got a similar thing with holiday movies, because you put a Christmas tree in a movie and people are like, "That's a fucking Christmas movie."
Mm,
Well, you make
mm.
a movie that has like a lot of dark shadows and a mystery in it. People are like, "Well, maybe that's a film noir."
I mean,
Like
even modern day audience will think anything that's black and white and is a period piece from, let's say, the 1940s, they'll say it's a noir, which it very
yeah,
well could be. I mean, I just talked about The Man Who Wasn't There, the Coen Brothers film
yeah.
from the early 2000s, and that's very much their neo noir film. Set in the 1940s, black and white, cinematography by Roger Deakins.
I
It's
mean,
it's got darker tone, darker themes in it with like murder and infidelity and all this kind of
they
stuff.
had already done good neo noir before that. I
Are
mean,
you talking about The Big Lebowski? 'Cause some people would say The Big Lebowski is a neo-noir.
No, I'm thinking of their first movie.
Oh, Fargo?
No, before that.
Talk about Miller's
Or am I thinking of the wrong director?
or Blood
Uh,
Simple, if you wanna go
Blood
back all the way to
Simple.
Blood
Blood
Simple,
Simple. Yeah.
which is yeah, which you could yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. It's got
Yeah.
murder and stuff in it.
It's
Anytime you
it's a
got, like, murder, detective investigations, stuff like that, like, your neo-noir buzzer should be going off.
yeah, I mean it's because I mean I mean them are staples of the
Mm.
genre, but like honestly I think the style, the way something's shot, and I think it's the themes. I think when you got a story that's about struggle, about or about getting into somebody's headspace, that I think them are clear indicator. And them are my favorite noirs, that are like The Lost Weekend is like
Oh, that's a good one.
that's
I
like
mean,
my favorite.
there's certain staples of the noir genre. I mean, we were fortunate enough to have literally the czar of noir here on Chasing Labels about 3.5 years ago. I think it was May or June of 2022.
Yeah,
Eddie Muller from Turner Classic Movies and from the Film Noir Foundation, literally. And it was really cool to talk to him. But I have several of his books, and his books are great kind of guides for those of you who want to get into noir, classic era noir,
yeah,
40s, 50s, that era. But certain movies that Steve and I have bonded over the years would be like Laura and Out of the
yeah.
Past, and
This one right here.
movies like so many. There's so many of them.
This one
It's gotten
behind
to the
this one behind me on the wall.
oh yeah, yeah, very much so. There's there's a lot of them, and what is interesting is that when it came to trying to pick out things in my collection to watch that I hadn't seen before was rather tough
It's
because
tough.
all the noirs I've bought I've either seen before or I watched them immediately when I got them years ago. Like I
Exactly.
couldn't help myself.
It
So
does get more and more difficult. That's why you have to just keep buying more noir. Um,
very true.
that's why the one that I picked is my first. I mean, because I dove because I still buy a lot of sets. Noir sets are kind of ones that I'm always jumping after. The only ones I don't really buy anymore are the Kino ones because it's just gotten out of hand.
I was gonna say
Um,
there are a few film noir Blu-ray sets that are out there. There's the
yeah,
Indicator ones that keep coming. There's Columbia Indicator. There's Universal Indicator. Universal Indicator number one actually just went out of print, so grab it while you can. And then of course there's the Kino ones, which they're up to like 26, 27 volumes
yeah.
now. It's a massive lot
Well,
of just like deeper cut film noirs. And then
well,
we've been getting all kinds of other stuff.
I
Good.
was gonna say the one that I will get into mine, I think is one of the more exciting noir series is the World Noir that we're
Mm,
getting from Radiance, which is where I pulled
nice.
my pick for tonight. But yeah, obviously we're both invested in this, and without further ado, yeah, we'll get into our unwatched pop picks. But if you've never watched the show before, or listened to it, me, Andrew, and usually a guest. This time we're not doing it with a guest, but usually we have a third person. We all pick a film, a physical media release in our collections that we have not watched. We watch it, and then we come in here to discuss. And then, along with that, we try to pair it with something. That first time watch, you're soaking it all in. You're kind of looking in on certain elements, and then you try to think like, what would be a good double feature with this first time watch that I just had. And so that, because sometimes that kind of stuff can help people that maybe haven't seen what you haven't seen or you just watched, and like be like, oh, if that double feat that movie I've seen, so if it's like that movie, then I should watch that. But it can be gateways. So that's essentially the show. Me and Andrew will be doing ours, and then after this, we are going to get into just kind of just a little bit of a discussion about holiday noirs, films, noirs that are set around the holidays, because it is that time of the year, and we figured there's some good ones. There's some good ones. There's some.
And there probably will be overlap between movies that Steven and I will suggest.
We're just gonna go. We're just gonna have an open discussion about it. Ain't gonna be no lists necessarily. It's
Oh,
just
okay, because I did
just
pick out like 5 titles, so
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I
we
got
should have pre-gamed it.
I got stuff. I'm just saying, like, I don't want to
I'll
just say
I
each of
will
us
say
go
this, there's a
run down
lot
list.
less than I thought about. Trying to find someone that I had seen before,
Yeah.
was a little more difficult, but which one of us are gonna go first with our pick? Are we gonna battle it out battle royale style?
Since it's just me and you, I'll go. Usually I go last, but I'll go first
Okay.
on our weird noir, and we'll change it up. We'll Tarantino this. Um, so yeah, I find these world noir sets that are coming from Radiance to be very fascinating. They have 4 of them out now. I got the 3rd one on the way, and
Yeah,
that
I got the
4th
3rd
one,
one coming tomorrow, actually,
yeah,
ironically.
yeah, I bought it from the Radiant sale.
It did just sell out as well, so good timing.
Yeah, I'm sure it's still out there at other places, but um, yeah, I didn't want to take any chances, so I went ahead and grabbed it. But this is coming from the Volume 1 set, and that is Witness in the City. And the plot is very simple. It's a very simple thing. It's a man whose wife has stepped out on him. It gets murdered, and the guy that murders his wife gets acquitted. He gets off, and so he makes a plan to kill that man, but then it kind of goes awry, and that's the whole movie. It's not like a super plot heavy movie. It once that one and that whole thing is like the beginning of the movie, and then it just goes on this kind of like weird. It goes in a weird direction. You don't really expect the movie to go, but it puts us in a lot of different noir scenarios and a lot of things like that. Um, I tell you what, best thing about this movie is the cinematography. Cinematography is gorgeous. I believe the cinematographer is an award-winning cinematographer, or he's definitely worked on other big
It's
projects.
Yeah, it's Henri Decay who shot Le Samurai.
There you go.
So,
Worked with Melville. That's why.
yes.
Melville, of course, is a staple of that genre, and kind of this movie itself is kind of an ode to, I think, a Melville. This is a French film, so there you go. That's part of it, but it's definitely got that Melville kind of feel. And yeah, it starts off with a bang. I mean, this movie starts off heavy and ends heavy. Now the middle section is very weird and loose, because what ends up happening is that he does the job that he's set to do, but then he has an unintentional witness, which ends up being a taxi driver. And so then he like doesn't think about it at first, but then he's like, shit, I can't just let that guy go. And so then the taxi driver gets away. So then he spends the whole night trying to find this taxi driver, and we kind of follow the taxi driver and like what stuff he's getting into, and it becomes like a very loose thing. And then just like him stumbling across paths with, like just escaping this guy who's trying to kill him. It's very interesting. And to be honest, it does feel like the movie's only an hour and 39 minutes. It does feel like it lags a little in the middle, but the payoff is so good at the end. The end almost feels like the movie M, Fritz Lang's M. It has this very like, all the people come together to try to like stop this guy at the end. All the taxi drive, it's amazing. It's great. I really thought this was a solid noir. Um, honestly, like, there's not many noirs that I don't get something out of. But yeah, did you get a chance to watch Witness
I've
in this?
never seen it, actually. I
Yeah,
didn't get a chance to watch it for Chasing Labels when the box set came out,
yeah.
and ironically, it's a box set I still need to get. Um
What? You're waiting this long? You waited?
well, 1, it's been out of print for a while, so it's buyable, but it's expensive at this
Yeah.
point in the game. Uh, so I've gotta get it eventually, but that movie, Witness in the City, we just talked about the cinematographer and Henri Decay, and yeah, he's pretty significant in terms of, things that he's done in his career. Yeah, because he shot, like, The 400 Blows, he shot, like I said, Le Samurai, Le Cercle Rouge,
Yeah.
Elevator to the Gallows, The Boys from
Ooh,
Brazil. I
that's a
mean,
good
just
one.
just the cinematographer of that movie has a career like you would not believe.
And,
Like, I
and
guess he was the only cinematographer in France in the
apparently,
50s and 60s.
I mean,
Jeez.
and then on top of that, there was just some great editing. There was a few
Mm,
shots that just a few transitions that were just so fun and inventive for that time. This film I think came out in, was it 659?
yeah, it came out in '59
Yeah.
and directed
Um,
by Edouard Molinaro, who I feel like is a name
he's a name
is a
s-
familiar name.
of note.
He was nominated for 2 Oscars. He was, I think, yeah, he did the original. He was the director of the original The Birdcage, A Caju
Ah,
Fall.
yeah. Yes.
That's why he gets credited as a writer for the remake that was done in the '90s with Robin Williams
Yeah.
and Nathan Lane, because it's originally based off of his movies and whatnot. Well, his movie, but yeah, it's a movie that I obviously am aware of, but I still have not seen, so I don't have much to say about it other than whatever your recommendation is. Which
It's a
obviously you give it a thumbs up.
it's solid. Yeah, it's a solid. I mean, I just get so fascinated by seeing people's different. I mean, French is pretty is a no is a culture that's done noir, and I've seen a pretty good amount of French noir.
Yeah, and
Um,
they are the kind of ironically, you chose a French film. Ironically, they are the kind of the originators of the idea of the neo-noir. Like, that's kind of, like, was
they're
developed
the
in
ones that
France in the '60s.
stamped the phrase,
Yeah, that's like they
but
kind of stamped the phrase in the
they
'60s.
they kind of codified it, but like it was German. It was Fritz Lang and the
Well,
German
the
German
noir thing, I'm
expressionism
just
that
talking more about, like, the you know what I'm
yeah
saying, neo-noir and whatnot, but
yeah
yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's just
yeah
really
it's
also 1959, put yourself in the mindset of where French film was in 1959, you get it. It's right on the cusp of the French New Wave,
yeah
right on the cusp.
yeah. Breathless is coming out the next
Yeah,
year.
like the 400 Blows, I think, came out in '58. You had Agnes Varda doing her film before then, but then you had, of course, Truffaut, Godard,
Yeah.
um, Chabrol. You had
It was about to get
Bridget.
really stuffy in the room.
It was about to
Uh,
change. French film was about to change radically.
yeah, yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I'm going off on a tangent now. But if anybody saw Richard Linklater's Nouvelle Vague,
I can't
uh,
wait to watch it. I gotta watch it.
it's
Yeah,
yeah, it's on. Is it on
Netflix.
Netflix? Yeah, it's on Netflix now, and it's literally a Rolodex of like, hey, I know that French person. I know that French person. I know that French person. It's just like a series of like acting cameos of like
Yeah,
everybody from that time period. Um, just fascinating. But anywho, it's just interesting how this was done in '59, and like right at that time, the French New Wave was about to kick into high gear, really, really soon.
yeah. But yeah, yeah, it's good stuff. Both I still have to watch the third film in this set. So I've watched the first two. I watched I'll be or I'm waiting or I am waiting, which is a Japanese noir, I believe. And then I got to watch the last one in here, the Facts of Murder. Actually, I almost watched Facts of Murder because it really, you know, it really interested me, but it was a little longer,
Yeah,
and I didn't have a
ironically,
lot.
as I've seen I Am Waiting. And I think I've also seen The Facts of Murder. I think
Of
that's
course
the one
you
in
have.
the box that I haven't seen. So, way to
So
go.
we complete each other. Great, cool.
You
Um,
complete me.
I know that well. That's how it is. But yeah, it's a good one, man. I really I think that it's without saying like Radiance does great stuff, and he keeps like when Radiance first started, I like for sure wanted to just be a completionist and just get everything, and unfortunately my wallet said no. So
You
yeah,
probably most people, I say it every single time we cover them, um, is that they are consistent beyond all belief. Every single month, like first week or two of the month, they announce their titles, and it's
yeah.
usually 4 or 5 releases, and it's every single month, like clockwork.
I mean he's definitely become. I think that they've become kind of like the Criterion of the UK, but in a more like indie way because like the movies they're not doing much, if any, mainstreamy type of titles. It's all
It's
kind of
usually
hidden.
deeper catalog
It's
stuff.
all deep cut stuff. Like really, yeah,
Yeah, and deeper cut and the thing with Fran is that Fran Simeone who runs it is his taste, they very much reflect his taste, and his taste is very diverse. We've got
Yeah.
movies from Japan, we got movies from France, movies from Italy, movies from England, movies from the US. There's movies from Greece. I mean, there's all over the world when it comes to Radiant stuff. And even though that's why, heck, World Noir, those box sets are kind of perfect if you're
Yeah.
trying to get a diverse cross section of
I
movies.
mean, I think it's just a better, more interesting angle at doing a series of. I mean, I love all the. I mean, not indicator sets. I love them, but like, it's very interesting that was the way to go. Like, you're just putting different. You're going for the same, theme, but with different cultures' view of that
Yeah, it's
thing. Like
fascinating because I think everybody kind of like every single kind of film movement or film studio culture
yeah,
grasps onto what's popular in other places. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, you can say that the samurai movies of Akira Kurosawa are Japanese westerns. So
yeah,
he took the popularity of the American western and adapted into Japanese culture. What is Japanese westerns? Oh, the samurai period, feudal Japan. That's the wild, wild west of Japan. I mean, with film noir, you've got American noir, you've got French noir, you've got, you got British noir actually. Ironically, you mentioned Indicator. They're putting out British noir box sets now.
yeah,
So everybody's kind of jumping on their bandwagon. It happens with other genres too.
yeah,
With like Universal Monsters, Hammer decided to let me make our own Frankenstein movies. Let's make our
yeah.
own Dracula movies. Let's take what they did over at Universal and adapt it into our own style. Um, but yeah, so that's really really good. I guess I will transfer over to my pick.
Well, before
Or do you
that,
want to do some comments?
well, I was just gonna say, well, the one here that I need a hat. Um, no, I can't do the hat, man.
I don't think you've
That's.
ever worn a hat on any of the videos we've done over the years.
I mean, I might have done it once, maybe
Or any type
somewhere.
of gear.
Headgear, except for this headphones. But Andrew's going for like the classic gangster look. I'm not.
Mm.
I'm not going for gangster. I'm going for disheveled, like alcoholic guy.
Yeah, you're like Fred McMurray in Double Indemnity towards the end of the
Yeah,
movie where
yeah.
he's been double crossed by, hit the femme fatale
Them
and Barbara
dames,
Stanwyck.
them
And he's all like
dames.
at the end of the movie, he's talking into the microphone and
Yeah.
and uh Edward G. Robinson is
I
just
mean,
kind of like watching him.
I could just take this shirt off and wear a wife beater. Is that more film noir?
And the thing is, I only bring this hat out, I guess, probably now just for the videos and
For
stuff.
noir,
I think I
yeah.
watched it when we did Casablanca for movies, for 52 movies.
52
Um,
must-see movies and why they matter.
that's about it. And then I think I've maybe done it for other things. I can't even remember. Uh, but for but ironically, this doesn't fit my movie selection at all. So
Yeah.
it doesn't fit it at all. Uh,
Hi, Josie.
oh yeah, Josie's here. Nice.
All right.
I was just
Well, go ahead.
I was just looking at the comments. Sorry, I got distracted. Because there was a question is if we like the movie Dark Passage, which I think is the Delmer Daves movie starring Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart. Talk about two classic noir actors.
Yeah.
That's the movie where half of the movie Humphrey Bogart's face is covered in bandages, and you get a lot of POV
Yes.
shots
Yeah.
from his perspective
Yeah.
because he's like I think he's on the run, so he has surgery to change his face,
Yep.
and that's why he's got bandages on the whole time.
Love it. I love it. It's so
It's
it's so off the wall. I love it.
I do like that one a lot.
All right. Well, tell us about what you watched for the first time.
Okay, so my pick is something that I kind of debated on whether it is actually a noir or not.
Okay.
And come to find out, I yes, it is a neo noir. Especially after I watched it, I became more and more convinced that it was, and it is actually a third adaptation of a book that's been turned into a film noir. So you're gonna have to go
Okay.
with me on this one.
All right.
You have to go with
Hey,
me.
it's been a while. You asked me about it, and I've seen it. And I think I might even own it, but it's been a minute since I've watched it, so I couldn't really give them a good answer.
Right, and the reason why I asked because you're well more versed in the main actor of this movie, and the movie is No Way Out. This is the movie from 1987 starring Kevin Costner. Uh, who else is in this movie? As if I didn't watch it myself. Kevin Costner, Gene Hackman, Sean Young, Will Patton, and yeah, and it's directed by Roger Donaldson, kind of a workman's director.
Yeah.
He's still around actually making stuff. There's like a was it 37-minute audio interview with Roger Donaldson on here that's brand new. And I thought that was kind of fascinating where he just talks about pretty much every aspect that they went through making this movie, including like pre-production. So like I said, this movie, it was technically already made a couple of times. It's a movie based on the 1946 Kenneth Fairing novel The Big Clock. Now, that may be ring-a-ding-dinging in people's heads because there was a movie called The Big Clock that came out in 1948 with, I believe, Charles Lawton, and that's a film noir. That's a classic film noir. I believe Arrows put out a Blu-ray of that. And then the book was adapted again in 1976 in the movie called Police Python 357. And then in 1987, I guess we're doing it again. We're going to make it again, and we have no way out.
Just won't let it
And,
go.
and so they just kept doing it, and the story, I guess, is good enough, and they kind of augmented the story over time. They changed it up, changed the setting, changed the characters, but the basic overall plot is in there. And in this case, it's dealing with like government corruption, government political thriller type of stuff. If anything, this movie feels like it fits more in the 1970s than anything, but it's got that little combination of erotic thriller and political conspiracy theory movies of the 70s as well. Granted, it came out in 1987. So you've got Kevin Costner in here, who is a Lieutenant Commander Tom Farrell. That's his name. And I remember he's in the Navy. And Gene Hackman plays the Secretary of Defense. And Will Patton plays like his assistant, like his main assistant. And Sean Young in this movie plays this woman who is definitely a femme fatale. Most definitely a femme fatale. You can see right here on the cover. That's a femme fatale cover like you've never seen. And so she and Kevin Costner get in a relationship by happenstance. She happens to be at some government inauguration party thing, and she and Kevin Costner have chemistry, and they hit it off, and they kind of fall madly in love. But she is also the mistress of one Gene Hackman, de- Secretary of Defense, Gene Hackman in this movie.
Of course.
And what happens is, I don't want to really give it away, give the mystery. Needless to say, her character ends up dying, and and they're trying to augment the truth in order for Gene Hackman's character to not get in trouble. He and Will Patton conspire to kind of cover it up, to put this murder on some mystery character, like some secret Russian agent called with a code name, so that this doesn't leak, this doesn't get back to Gene Hackman's character. But Kevin Costner knows the truth. He knows what happened to the woman he loved. He knows that she was having an affair. He knows it, but he's got to make sure that he's not the one that gets pinned for it as well. So that's when you get all of the intrigue and the red herrings, and that's when the thrilling aspect of this movie takes over. It's him basically trying to save himself, but also expose the real murder of the woman he loved. And when I say the movie's kind of neo-noirish, is because you're dealing with like the sexiness of the relationship, the sexiness of an affair. There's murder involved. There's a murder mystery involved, but we know as the audience who committed the murder already. Little Hitchcock thrown in there. I really liked that. I thought it was a really cool 1980s thriller. Neo noir vibes, like I said. Kevin Costner in the 80s, I think I've said this a million times, he was kind of like one of the main guys in like Hollywood movies. This was really around that time when he was starting to rise up on as a star. This was, I think, right before the Untouchables. Obviously, it was before JFK. It was before Robin Hood. Obviously, it was way before Waterworld, which kind of took his career in the other way. But still, he was on the rise at this time. Obviously, before Dances with Wolves as well, and yeah,
Field of Dreams.
and Field of Dreams, and of course, he was in Bull Durham as well, another baseball centric movie. But
Tin
yeah,
Cup.
so this is kind of in the mix in all of those movies, and yeah, I really really like this movie a lot. There's a twist at the very end that was completely unpredictable that I thought was really really well done. But yeah, Steven, I know you had seen this movie a long time ago, so I have no idea what your
Yeah,
recollection is.
I don't have much to say about it. I'll be honest with you. I don't know that I remember being like as enthusiastic about it as you are. Um, maybe it's because like most other Kevin Costner movies are a little bit less dry. I mean, I found this. I think I found this movie to be a little bit on the slow side. But sometimes you watch things at the wrong time, or you try to watch things and you're just not ready to watch them. And this isn't like a movie that's super difficult to hang with, but like, um, I don't remember being like over the moon about it. I thinking it was okay. But I don't have much to say about it because I can barely remember it. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm glad you picked something that was noirish because I know you were hoping it was.
Yeah, I was very much hoping that it was. I tell you, I combed list after list of noirs that I because the thing is, it has to be in our collection, first of all, which is already kind of tough, and
Yeah.
then it has to be something we haven't seen, which is also like double tough. Like I said,
This
especially
is
with
why
film
Noir
noir.
November happens once a year, kids, for
I
this
know,
show.
but it's like it's put so much part of my DNA that I've watched so many of them over the years that every list kind of gets redundant because it's like seen it, seen it, seen it, seen it.
He's gonna have to start lying that he hasn't
Yeah, I'm
seen
just gonna have to
something.
start redoing movies. Oh yeah, I've never seen this movie before. Lies. But Steven, I'm curious what you paired with yours because obviously we got a
Oh,
pairing. That's actually also really really tough too. So
yeah.
I'm curious what you paired yours with.
Well, so it was kind of difficult. I had a couple things that popped into my head, um, and I wanted to play off the idea, because like in the movie, the main character, this guy that murders, it's the one. I wouldn't say it's a negative about the movie, but it is something about the movie about Witness in the City that's I wish there was a little more in there of, and that was like kind of understanding like why this husband that is now like he kills this guy, and the way he does it's so methodical, it's so like shit, like, but essentially putting somebody getting put in a position that where they feel like that they need to get revenge, and then it not quite going the way you expect it to go. And I was trying to think of movie revenge films that kind of followed that, and this was the one that really came to mind. And this movie is definitely, I guess you could say it's a neo noir. I mean, maybe, um, but it definitely takes. It's a lot less noir and a little bit more on the uh, exploitation side, I would say. And that is Jeremy Saulnier's Blue Ruin.
Mm, I had that in my head as soon as you started saying revenge.
Yeah, revenge. So yeah, in this film, you have the main character played by, you'll probably know his name before I figure it out, Malcolm Blair, and he's been kind of like for many years, kind of like basically in a way homeless. Like he's just like living out of his car. He's like, just kind of his life has kind of went to crap, but it's because he hasn't been able to get over the fact that his parents were murdered by this guy who has been in prison but is now getting out of prison. And so when he hears word that this guy that murdered his parents is getting out of prison, he decides he's going to go kill this guy. Now, I mean, he knows, but what he doesn't really take into account too well is that this whole family that this guy's associated with is crazy, and they're rich, and they don't really care about following the rules. So, but he goes and does the thing anyway, and he's not a killer, and that's the kind of difference here is there's a little bit like the guy in Witness in the City, like kind of feels like he knows what he's doing, even though it kind of gets away from him. This guy in this movie doesn't know what he's doing. It's very sloppy, and he barely gets away with it. And then when he's on the run, he is fighting for his life. And yeah, I mean, and it kind of turns of course, the turns it around on you, because the guy in Witness in the City kind of feels like the antagonist of the movie, when in this film, our protagonist is the guy that took revenge. So yeah, it's kind of a role reversal, but with the same kind of theme elements that make up both movies. I thought it was a really nice pairing. And this is, if you want something a little more exploitative that takes it farther than Witness in the City, though I will say the ending of Witness in the City kind of goes further than I thought it would when it comes to violence. So that was pretty cool. But this movie is very violent. Jeremy Saulnier's films are known for their kind of, I think, exploitative elements. Whether you're talking about Green Room, what was the one he did for Netflix? Didn't he do like a couple movies for
He did. He
Netflix?
did do one with Netflix with Alexander Skarsgård. I think that was
Yeah,
that one. Let me see. What is
it
it?
was like
So
it was like the one with the like
hold the dark.
Hold the Dark was the weird one with the wolf in it,
That's
right?
the one with Jeffrey Wright and Alexander
Oh, okay,
Skarsgård. You're talking about
okay.
the newest one, which was the one with Aaron Pierre, the Rebel Ridge.
Rebel Ridge is great. That's not very exploitative though. That's just like a political
What's interesting is that takes
thriller.
that what you're just saying, kind of like violent explosion,
Yeah,
and turns it on its head.
yeah, yep.
Um, Very interesting. Kind of the opposite of what Jeremy Saulnier is known for, because his movies are rather,
Which is
violent
great.
in that
Which
regard.
is cool because you don't you want to keep your audience, if you're fans of Jeremy Saulnier, you want to hope that he can do more than just the same thing over and over again. But I think
Yeah,
he's an interesting filmmaker. I think
very
he's
interesting.
yeah.
I remember when Blue Ruin came out back in 2013, which was probably the last time I saw it, ironically so. But it's one of those movies where I've always thought of that old saying, when you go down the path of revenge, like dig two graves or whatever the saying is, the idea that revenge will lead you down a dark path of which you probably will not return from. And we've seen that in many revenge centered movies where this person goes all the way and ultimately leads to their own ruin in some way, whether it is literally or figuratively. That's the case. That may be the case. Um, yeah. So Blue Ruin is super underrated, and it's always one of those kind of like best revenge movies, I think, of like
Yeah.
the last 15 years. Uh, but yeah, that's a good pick. That's a good pick. You could have gone, yeah, you could have gone any revenge route. Could have
There's a
really
lot
gone
of
more
revenge
revenge.
films out there,
So many of them. It's
Yeah.
such an interesting subgenre that they keep doing over and over and over again.
Yep.
um, so I guess that would be lead to my pick. So I didn't really match the genres. And it was tough because No Way Out is, like I said, it's a mishmash of like neo noir elements with political thriller elements. So I was like, I'm going to lead towards a movie dealing with politics, specifically political corruption, and specifically with those types of themes in it. And so I thought I would mention a movie that for some reason people don't really talk about that much anymore. And it's got prominent people in it. It's been directed by a prominent person, and that's the movie The Ides of March,
Mm.
directed by George Clooney, starring
Yeah.
George Clooney and a host of other people. Ryan Gosling, George Clooney, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Paul Giamatti, Marissa Tomei, Jeffrey Wright, and Evan Rachel Wood are in this film. And this movie came out 2011. Yeah, 2011. And I don't know if it's just like George Clooney's like stardom when it comes to directors kind of faded a little bit over the years, so people don't really talk about his work. But I feel like this was one of his better movies. If you like his movie Good Night and Good Luck, which was obviously heavily political film, this movie fits with that one very much so. But I feel like his work lately as a director has made people just like not talk about The Ides of March or Good Night and Good Luck. I think it all started with the Monuments Men, where he was like, "I'm going to make my own Coen Brothers movie," and it wasn't what
Was it?
people thought it was going
Yeah.
to be, but it very much is a Coen Brothers movie in the vein of "Oh Brother, Where Art, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" So I feel like with George Clooney, you go back and watch his directed movies, you can see that he takes influences from the directors that he's worked with, whether it be the Coen brothers, whether it be Steven Soderbergh. This is more on the Soderbergh end of things, as opposed to the Coen brothers. And this movie, for those of you who haven't seen it, is dealing with a political campaign that, and this is set circa 2008, and George Clooney is a Democratic governor running for office, and he's in the midst of the Democratic primary, I think, and he's going up against an opponent, and his his campaign manager is Philip Seymour Hoffman, and then the person working under Philip Seymour Hoffman is a young, like, political upstart in Ryan Gosling, who just thinks like the world of this George Clooney, like, oh, he's the perfect candidate. I'm so behind all of his ideals and ideas. He's gonna be the guy. I think it's kind of like George Clooney playing like an almost like a Barack Obama type of character, if you will. But what happens is a potential political scandal starts brewing behind the scenes, and perhaps the George Clooney character isn't as clean cut or as ideally a good guy as the public may believe it to be. So, in typical political maneuverings, there's dirty things happening behind the scene, and Ryan Gosling's character is kind of caught up in all of that. And it's really really good, like really great screenplay, great acting. Obviously, I just mentioned like so many great actors, and the late great Philip Seymour Hoffman is amazing in the movie. Ryan Gosling, I think, is fantastic in the movie as well. And George Clooney, he's not in the movie a lot, but he's obviously the focal point because he is the main kind of character that all of these events would be affecting in the movie. But I've always loved this movie. I don't know why people just haven't talked about it more. So I figured I would bring it up here once again since I've got, the opportunity to.
Well, I think one thing, and this isn't obviously the case with every movie in this genre, but I think sometimes if you're talking about specific things in politics, it can get a little dated, I think. I don't know. I mean, there's some political movies, political thrillers that have standed the test of time, but honestly, like, can we really think of a lot of them that really were like, oh, that's like, All the President's Men, like there's like, that's the one everybody talks about and they always bring up. But, like when you're talking about political movies, there's just like a handful that I think people really think about. So I think maybe just, unfortunately, this movie gets kind of looked over because of, maybe the aging
Yeah,
of
I mean, and
politics. Or
there's so many political movies that, maybe it just gets lost in the shuffle. I mean,
yeah,
you mentioned All the President's Men, but we've got like Lincoln and The Post and Robert
yeah.
Redford and the Candidate. You got The American President, which I think is another underrated movie. I think it's a Mike Nichols movie. Um, and
I also think that, like you said, George Clooney's directing efforts are not really. He's not a filmmaker that I don't think get too giddy about.
the thing is, like, he's done some great work and he's done some okay work. Like, I don't think anything that I've seen from him is necessarily bad.
Yeah.
Bad in quotes, because
Well,
everything is
did he do
subjective.
Leatherheads?
He did do Leatherhead. I knew you were gonna
That's
bring
pretty
that
bad.
up. Ironically, he did
And
Good Night and
Monuments Men is pretty bad.
yeah, he did Good Night and Good Luck, and then did Leatherheads, and then did The Ides of March.
Yeah,
So he did like one excellent movie,
yeah,
Leatherheads, which not great, and then The Ides of March, and then Monuments Men. Suburbicon is not great in my opinion,
yeah.
and his first movie, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, which is definitely his Steven Soderbergh movie, I
Yeah,
think is great
that's one of
with
his best
Sam
movies.
Rockwell.
Yeah,
Super underrated.
that might be. Yeah, God, that's a good one. Yeah, I don't know if it's just that he's so erratic with like when he decides to make movies that it's like it's hard to like get good at it. I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Like
I don't
he
yeah,
doesn't practice enough. I don't know. Like,
Well, there's been a lot of actors turned
of
director. I mean, we
course.
just mentioned like Robert Redford. He's done it. I mean, Paul Newman, my favorite Paul Newman, directed a couple of movies. And some are great at it, some are not so great at it. And I feel like George Clooney's somewhat in the middle of all of
I
that.
think he obviously has a lot of ideas. especially political ideas. And I think that
Mhm.
that's something he's smart about. But then there's telling stories, and that's a whole other thing. Um, so I don't know. I've never really listened to him talk about his film making. Honestly, I don't know that I've heard him talk about much about himself as an actor either. I think honestly, I've seen most things where he talks about politics in real life.
Well,
Is what
he's a
is it?
hugely
Yeah,
political person. I remember obviously when he won the Oscar for what was that movie he did? Why am I coming
Syriana.
Syriana. He had a whole political, like, acceptance speech at the Oscars and
Yeah,
whatnot, um, I remember South Park made a whole joke about it, how it was so smug that it created literal smog. You know? And, so, yeah, he's definitely immensely political, so,
yeah,
obviously, this movie leans heavily towards his political idealings, which may, of course, alienate certain people depending on where you are on the political spectrum or whatnot, but as an actor, I've always really liked George Clooney's work.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, I think George Clooney is like the closest thing we get to a classic movie star type of actor
yeah,
today.
people have compared him. He's kind of our modern day Cary Grant
Cary Grant.
because
Yeah,
George Clooney's been always known as being incredibly handsome and debonair on screen, having a lot of charm and
yeah.
things like that.
He's definitely got movie star charm.
Yeah, there's always been like certain actor comparisons, like Jimmy Stewart. Our modern day Jimmy Stewart would be Tom Hanks, kind of
Yeah,
the everyman who also it has fit well in every single role. We've seen that from Tom Hanks, you know, in every regard.
yeah,
Uh, so it's very interesting, just kind of, you know, the way actors try to like be directors as transitioning from and then some are more successful than others, some aren't. But yeah, going back to the Ides of March, I've always really liked this movie. I think I've had this Blu-ray since 2011. I think I'm literally have had it. It's got the old Vortex case. Um, I mean, it's got literally George Clooney's on. My goodness, I still keep all my old codes and whatnot. Look at George Clooney in there. Got the American flag draped all over him.
what is he,
Really
fucking
setting him up
Rocky
good.
from Rocky 4 or
Yeah,
something?
it's like it really is. It really is. Um, but yeah, so those are my two picks. Two kind of political noirs, if that's such
Yeah,
a thing. Political neo
yeah. I
noirs
I think it is.
in No Way Out and um Ides of March. So I don't know if you want to transition over to kind of the second half of the show, which would be
Ye-
us talking a little bit about holiday noirs.
Yeah, yeah. Before that, though, you got a few comments in
We do have
here.
some comments.
Dan, who's been on the show many times, says November is his favorite month, other than his birthday month, of course. Um, Josie had some first time
Yeah, I was gonna just
watches.
highlight that.
Yeah, murder. He says from 45, Daddy Long Legs, which that's in the collection, right? Isn't that
Yeah,
a
Daddy Longlegs. I think if I remember correctly, is that the movie that's directed by? Yeah, that's the first movie directed by the Safdies, I think.
Safdies? That's it. Yeah.
Yes.
Stranger on the Train, of course. That's the
Hitchcock?
Alfred Hitchcock film. That's great. To Be or Not to Be. That's a Pressburger film. Power
That's
Press.
Ernst Lubitsch.
Or it's Lubitsch. Sorry. Yeah. And All Through the Night. I don't think I've seen that one.
And then she had some other ones which I thought were interesting up here
Okay.
too. First time watches of the month. I want to highlight The Man in Search of His Murderer. That sounds a great title.
Yeah.
Magic Cop, Johnny Tsunami. Do you know what Johnny Tsunami is, Steven?
Mm-mm.
That's the Disney Channel original movie from 1999, where
Okay.
the kid who lives and grows up in Hawaii, his family moves to like Vermont, and he goes from like surfing to learning how to snowboard. Remember in the late 90s, there was a big thing with people learning how to snowboard.
Yeah.
I just felt like that stuff was massive during my childhood, like X Games type of stuff. There was like snowboarding and skateboarding and surfing, and then like motorbiking. It was like all these like extreme sports stuff. But anywho, Johnny
Okay.
Tsunami. I watched it from my childhood, and I don't know the rest of these movies. But
No,
anywho,
I don't either.
just wanted to highlight my Disney Channel original movie
Ah, yes, very
days.
noir of you. But as you were about to say, transitioning into our second half here, we are going to talk a little bit about holiday noir. Film noirs that are set around the holidays. That's all it takes, guys. and that's what will probably be the criteria for most of these is just film noir movies that are set around Thanksgiving or Christmas. Mostly Christmas.
I went with Christmas. Not a lot set around Thanksgiving.
Well,
Um,
Thanksgiving just isn't quite as heavy of a holiday that gets covered in film. Like it's not.
not yeah, just in movies in general. I mean,
Yeah,
there's like planes, trains, and automobiles, and then maybe some other stuff.
there's some other like I think family dramas and things like that are set around Thanksgiving, but it's not a very it hasn't been used in a diverse way for other genres, especially noir. So, but yeah, we're just gonna kind of just have an open discussion. I know we made a joke when we brought this up. I guess we should just kind of start with Shane Black, right? Because Shane
Ooh,
Black is
you're going there first. Okay.
well, I mean, he's kind of the first obvious one because he's kind of made a career
Yeah.
on this particular thing. He's a he's mostly well known for kind of jumping into the Predator movie and kind of helping write that and start. And he's one of the lead actors in that. But he would go on to create a whole career around kind of making noir films, modern neo noir films, in different types of movies, like Lethal Weapon.
Yeah,
Lethal
I was
Weapons.
literally I brought it up. My
Yeah, there you go.
copy of Lethal Weapon. Specifically, the first movie is set
Yeah,
around the holidays.
yes.
The sequels don't really
Sequels
fully
don't really
jump.
stick to that necessarily,
No,
but yeah, I mean that movie's got the style. Of course, it's two homicide detectives, um,
there's a murder mystery.
murder mystery. There's the music is jazzy
Yeah,
and
there's a saxophone that plays. Anytime there's a saxophone that plays,
yeah, yeah,
it's a noir in some regard. Um,
yeah.
it's and there's literally a scene where that takes place at like a place that sells Christmas trees. What do you call that? A Christmas tree lot? I don't even
Yeah,
know.
Christmas tree
There's like an action
lot.
scene
Yeah,
there, so
yeah,
it takes place all around like the holiday season, and yeah, I was and like I said, written by Shane Black, who loves the neo noir vibe, to the point where he did his own movie in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang in '05.
it's
This
pro-
is
it's probably the best one. I
yeah, this
personally.
movie comes up on every single holiday neo-noir, holiday noir,
Yeah,
Christmas neo-noir. This is on every single one of the lists.
yeah.
Um, and it's a movie I've seen several times. I would love if some boutique label got this and
Please.
remade it. Uh, remaster, restoration, extra features, even more than what we've got on here, which is I don't think anything. We have a commentary by Robert Downey Jr., Val Kilmer, and Shane Black, and a gag reel. That is it. So bring over that commentary, but bring over. I don't know who you interview, Shane Black at this point.
It sounds like a second sight deal to me. Let's do a second sight
Either
on this.
them or Arrow. The reason
Yeah,
why I say Arrow is because Arrow and Warner Brothers are like
yeah.
got a team up right
They got a
now,
thing going
and they're
on
going
right now.
on quite a run. They're going
Yeah,
on quite a run.
yeah,
So it feels like it would fit in that mode. But yeah, this movie is yet again centered around a murder, and you got these two people who basically team up to figure it out.
yeah,
In Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer's an actual private investigator, and Robert Downey Jr.'s character kind of just gets caught up in this.
well, he's a thief who
He's a
accidentally.
writer, isn't he?
No, he's a thief.
Yeah,
He's trying to steal. He's trying to get a present for his child, and he's running away from robbing a place, and he accidentally walks into an audition,
yeah,
and and gets the role for this movie, and now he's like working with Val Kilmer's character to learn about how to be a private detective.
yeah. He ends
Yeah,
up going to the West Coast and
yeah,
going to like one of those Hollywood parties
yeah,
with like the movers and shakers, some rich dude's mansion on the coast or whatever, and they ends up learning about you know who these people are and all this kind of stuff. And Val Kilmer's character's there, and he ends up like getting caught up in a
yeah.
murder that ends up happening. Um, uh, Michelle Monaghan is in the film as well, and she's excellent in it. I've always really
It,
liked this movie a lot.
one of my favorite jokes in a movie. I mean, there's tons of great jokes in movies, but one of my favorite little bits in the movie is in this movie where something happens. Val Kilmer is upset at Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer says, "You know what it says in the dictionary under? You know what it shows in the dictionary under idiot?" And he's like, something to that effect. And he's like, God, I'm messing this up, but he says something like, he's like, "No, it's a picture of you who is an idiot." And like as he like turns it around him, it's hilarious.
There's a
A lot of
lot of good
zingers.
writing. A lot of good
Their back and forth in this movie is what
It's
makes the
excellent.
movie. Yeah.
It's excellent, and it leads me to Shane Black's other film, which is The Nice Guys, which is not a
Yeah.
holiday film. It's not, but it's steeped in 70s neo noir, L.A. noir type of stuff with Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling, and it's a good companion piece to this movie. It really,
Yeah.
really is. It's kind of similar. It's very similar, actually.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, yeah, I would say, I would say Kiss Kiss Bang Bang's a little more sleazy. Well, they're both pretty sleazy. I,
Oh, I mean, I think Nice Guys is a little more. The
they're
Nice
both,
Guys has a lot of more nudity and sexual elements to it and stuff like that.
I don't know. I just think the vibe of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang feels a little more like, well, it's because it's modern day.
Mm.
And back the
Yeah,
Nice Guys is set in like the time period of
yeah.
like
And
the
now that yeah,
60s.
there's one big kind of reveal in the movie that I'm thinking of right now that makes it super dark and disturbing. So yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I just think there's just a little
it
bit.
just hit me. It
Yeah,
just
there's an edginess to
yeah.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang that I don't feel fits it feels like it's more of the underbelly than it is in Nice Guys, where it feels like that was the culture of the time. I don't know. They're both good and they're both got the same similar vibes, but I think Nice Guys is a little brighter. It's a little more. Hanging on the comedy a little more.
Very much so.
And there's like Ryan Gosling's daughter, so there's like a child element.
Yeah,
Like
it's more buddy cop-ish. It's a lot actually
yeah,
closer to, like, Lethal Weapon.
a little closer to that, or a
Yeah.
little closer to the sequels to Lethal Weapon than the
Yes.
first Lethal Weapon, because the first Lethal Weapon's dark. It's kind of dark.
Oh, yeah, because 'cause you're
Yeah,
dealing, um
mental
Mel
health
Gibson's character is
stuff.
dealing with PTSD from, like,
Yeah,
Vietnam,
yeah,
which is
and
pretty dark. He's suicidal in
he's
that movie.
suicidal for sure. Yeah,
Um, I don't know if this is a movie you've ever seen, Steven, but it's a movie that I watched, for the show here. That's the movie The Ice Harvest.
haven't seen it. Now I've
I
heard of it for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I've heard
starring
of it.
John Cusack, Billy Bob Thornton, and Connie Nielsen, and it coincidentally came out the same exact year as Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Obviously, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang gets all of the love, and the
Yeah,
Ice Harvest is kind of not really remembered. And I've had this DVD for many years. I don't even know where I got it. I think maybe somebody gave it to me, like a friend gave it to me, or maybe I bought it when it was like super cheap or whatever. But either way, um this movie is definitely it's set actually on Christmas Eve. So literally can't get more Christmas than that. Christmas
yeah.
Eve, and it's all set in one night. And you've got Billy Bob Thornton is a he's a pornographer. So he's a man who deals in adult entertainment, but he also, I believe, runs a bunch of like dance clubs, strip dance clubs, and stuff like that. And John Cusack plays a lawyer. He's kind of a scumbag-ish lawyer. Think of like Better Call Saul, but just
Yeah.
like dealing with even worse characters, I guess. And they both kind of work for or work with a local gangster portrayed by Randy Quaid of all people.
Ah,
You would think it would not be realistic to have Randy Quaid as a gangster, but
no,
keep in
not
mind
really.
it's 2005 and not 2025, where Randy Quaid is an insane person ranting on the internet about nonsense. But so go back to 2005, and they decided they're gonna steal from this gangster guy that they both work for, and they steal like $2 million from him that same night. And what ends up happening is they're trying to kind of figure out what to do afterward. Like, do they get how to get out of town, how to go about hiding the money, and meanwhile, perhaps the Randy Quaid gangster character is is aware that he's been stolen from and who has stolen from him, and maybe has sent somebody after them to get them. So you've got all of those kind of elements in there, and then you have Connie Nielsen, who's definitely the femme fatale in the center of all of this, where she is kind of working the John Cusack character because he has feelings for her. So she's kind of manipulating him along the way. I won't give away anything else, but needless to say, Billy Bob Thornton's great in the movie, and John Cusack's really good. I miss the days when John Cusack was in like mainstream movies and stuff. I feel like I don't see him that often anymore, unless it's like on the internet talking
I think
about
he's
stuff.
gotten. I think over time he's gotten more difficult.
Is that the
Apparently,
case?
I think so.
I feel like maybe you're right. I don't know.
I think I've heard that he's gotten a little on the difficult side.
I just feel like I
Um,
haven't seen him in a movie in years that wasn't like something straight to streaming or like straight to
I
DVD or
mean,
something that was
the
like
last thing I can think
small.
of is that Beach Boys movie. That's
Oh
it.
my goodness, Love and Mercy?
Love and Mercy. Yeah,
Wasn't that like 9? Was that 2014? I feel like
something like that.
that may have been back then. Holy heck! But he was actually excellent in that movie.
Oh, he was. Yeah, he was great. That
2014.
yeah,
Oh
and then
my
he did
goodness.
that one where he was Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh yeah, my goodness. I remember him. Wasn't he in 1408? That
Yeah,
Stephen King
yeah,
adaptation.
yeah, yeah,
That's dating me a little bit. Yeah, he hasn't been.
yeah.
All of these movies, none of them look familiar at all, and none of them
No,
have high ratings on IMDb. I know it's not
no.
the end all be all, but he was in Chirac in 2015. That was a Spike Lee movie. That's kind of the best thing he's been in years. And of course, he was in Hot Tub Time Machine 2 in
Yeah,
2015 as well.
good
So the
stuff.
last decade's not going so well for John Cusack, but I always really liked him as an actor. Say
Yeah.
Anything, I still think is excellent. Um, there was the movie. Uh, oh man, he's done a lot of good work in his younger days.
All
Basically like
right.
80s and 90s stuff.
This is Noir Vember. This is
I know it's Noir
The
November.
John Cusack
I
hour.
got to bring up High Fidelity, and I got to talk about what's the Gross Point Blank.
Yeah,
Gross Point Blank, which is kind of a neo noir from the 90s.
yeah, yeah.
If you can kind of swing that. But yeah, Steven, you bring up something because
Oh,
I've not
I
moved
mean,
up the wazoo here.
well, yeah, we could. The, the genre of the moment, superheroes. Batman and Batman Returns. That's a
Oh,
noir.
really?
I would say that's a noir, right? That's it. Tim Burton essentially is making very gothically kind of noir movies.
It's very interesting how what the line is between gothic and noir
Yeah,
and the mixture of both of them, specifically with dealing with Batman, because Batman is very
he's a
much both.
detective.
He is known as the detective, like
Yeah,
the best detective in DC Comics.
yeah. And
Um,
this one, of course, is set around Christmas.
yeah, I mean the
Yeah,
opening is aren't they like
yeah,
a with the clowns?
yeah, yeah. And it's very. I mean, it is very. It's got the Tim Burton where he shot them movies were very noir-esque. Um, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of themes of murder and that's kind of an easy one for me. I think
Yeah,
that
Mac
kind of fits the
Shrek, Christopher Walken
yeah fits the
murders
role
Selena
for me.
Kyle, and she comes back from the dead, I guess. And this
Yeah,
crazy shit going on
if
in
you
that
want to
movie.
call it that, if you want to call it that. Um,
Oh man, I saw that
some
movie
would,
in the theater.
of course, the one over my shoulder here, L.A. Confidential
Yeah,
is.
I was wondering if you were gonna bring it up
Yeah,
because it
yeah.
starts off
It's not
at
the
Christmas.
beginning of the movie is it's Christmas time, but then after that we get past it and it's not really important anymore. But the main kind of thing that sets up the movie happens at Christmas, which is a big murder and or a bunch of murders and um, a big thing that happens at the jail. Um, so yeah, I mean it's just like some of these anything that's considered a Christmas movie. It's very gingerly. You could almost say it's not, but
You can argue either way.
yeah, yeah. I mean, just
For
like Die
example,
Hard. Die Hard is always considered a Christmas movie by everybody, and you could also kind of say it's noirish. I mean, it's not really, but it is. I mean, in a way, you know.
maybe Nia, yeah.
I
It's
mean,
tough.
in
It's
some
tough.
ways,
Yeah. Um, and it's
it's more
interesting you kind of
action.
bring up like there's only like one element in the movie that makes it a holiday. There's the Nicholas Ray film from I think 1948, They Live by Night, which only towards the end of the movie is there like a Christmas element in there.
Yeah.
So in 1940, it's the 1948 movie They Live by Night. Where it's kind of like a Bonnie and Clyde type of movie, two people on the run. And towards the end of the movie, one of the characters is given a Christmas gift, and I think it's a watch or something like that, and it's supposed to
Yeah.
signify time is running out.
Yeah.
It's available through Criterion. Nicholas Ray, great director, directed Rebel Without a Cause and a bunch of other movies. But really fantastic. That's one that came up on the list over and over and over again. A couple of other ones that came up on the list. Actually, one that I have, Blast of Silence.
Yeah.
This movie here came up on every single damn list I saw. And so this, I have the DVD. It's been re-released on Blu-ray from
Yeah.
Criterion. I heard about this movie years ago from um um why am I forgetting his name? Hold on, I'm gonna look him up. But this movie here is definitely a B grade film noir, and um it's such a movie that it take the reason why it's on all the lists because it takes place during Christmas, or at
Yeah.
least during the Christmas season, and um, it's such a like a like a workman's um film noir. The person I saw it from was Patton Oswalt. He recommended this movie years ago. I saw him do a video where he went and watched like certain movies and got them from like I think the Academy Archive, and Blast of Silence was one of them. And I had never heard of the movie before. Like I said, B grade noir takes place during Christmas. It's about a hitman who gets a job to murder somebody, and he goes back to the city. It's a city he used to live in, and while waiting and kind of watching and stalking the person he's going to kill, he ends up like getting in touch with like an old friend, an old acquaintance, an old like crush of his or whatever, and you're kind of just following him along, and you also see him like dealing with buying the murder weapon and stalking his prey and stuff like that. The movie has a typical noir narration along with it. It's dark, it's nihilistic, it's very cut to the bone. The movie's only like 77 minutes long, super short, super short. But yeah, it's by Alan Barron, who also stars as the hitman as well in the movie. And yeah, it's bleak, nihilistic. It's so film noir to the bone. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I said, I still need to get the Blu-ray for it. But yeah, Blast of Silence came on every single list I saw. So I thought I would recommend that to people who have never heard of it, because it's not exactly an everyday movie that everybody knows of.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, them are kind of the heavy hitter ones. I mean, I'm sure there's others.
Yeah, I've got yeah.
That we,
There's a lot of others. I mean, there's some that I would actually argue maybe are not film noir holiday movies, and there's some that are. For example, like It's a Wonderful Life is not really a film noir, but you see it on some film noir lists.
yeah.
And obviously you would argue with that over, with other people. It's got certain existential elements to it that maybe make it film noir-ish, but it's not quite that way. I also saw, what else did I see? I saw The Night of the Hunter,
Yeah.
because the movie actually ends, I believe, on Christmas or in the holiday season, and so that's why it ended up on so many lists.
Yeah.
Do you do you have any others? Because I've got one more.
No, no, you go ahead and finish it up for us.
Another one I kept seeing, and I'm like, I've seen this movie, Cash on Demand,
Yeah, yeah.
which
I got that
is
in my collection, yeah.
yeah, it's the Hammer. It's in the Hammer. Which one? Which volume is this? Hammer 2. Yeah, it's in Hammer 2. From Indicator, the Hammer 2 Indicator box set, and it's a movie that I didn't realize while watching it that it's kind of an adaptation of A Christmas Carol,
Hmm.
where Peter Cushing plays this Scrooge-like owner of this bank that's getting robbed, and it's got apparently a lot of Dickensian or Charles Dickens type of themes in it, and I
Yeah.
didn't quite pick those up when I watched it, so I got to give it a rewatch. But I thought I would mention it just because it's yet again another movie I don't think people are aware that exists.
Yeah.
Cash on demand.
Yeah. I think I watched it way back when I first got that set, but I can't remember. And like you said, I wasn't aware of the comparison. So, um, yeah. But guys, November is almost over, so if you haven't watched any Noir, you need to get on it before the end of the month. But of course, there is no stopping you. Watch Noir all year. It's a very wide spanning, and it's been going on for decades. Like there's always, no matter how long we get into it, somebody always comes out with something that falls into, I think, the noir genre in some way every year. I think something comes out, that hits that mark.
Yeah,
At some
something
point.
comes out with a shades of noir within it in some way, shape, or form. I do want to give a special shout out to the creator of the Noirvember hashtag, Miss Mariah Gates, who was a guest here on Chasing Labels during one November. I
Yeah,
don't can't remember how far back, but she's been a friend that I've had for many many years, and she created the Noirvember tag, and it's stuck ever since. And it gets resurrected every year during November and in so many places.
yeah,
You know, stores use it to sell their noir DVDs, and noir related books.
yeah,
Um, yeah, noir's always been a big thing for me and a big thing for Steven. And yeah, celebrate it even when it's not Noirvember. I feel like
exactly.
that seems to be a good motto from me to you. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm still like Thanksgiving Day hungover. Is anybody else feeling that way? Because I know I kind of
Yeah,
am.
well, a little. I always try to keep. The last couple years, I've tried to keep it. I don't go too crazy anymore with eating. I went a little bit more than I usually do the last couple years, but I try to keep it together. I don't like to feel like crap the next day. So,
Mm.
um, but that is it for this Unwatched Pile. Thanks everybody for joining us for this Noir edition. Of course, there will be an audio version of this on our podcast feed as well. And of course, along with all of our other stuff, we got another Movies Down Memory Lane coming next Saturday, where we'll be discussing, what are we discussing? I forgot. Um,
Oh, The Hangover.
the Hangover. Yes, Dan picked The Hangover, the first Hangover film in the series. So we'll be getting into some funny stuff, a contrast to what we just did to here on this episode. So look out for that. Of course, look out for everything else we got going on. And
Yeah, check
guys,
out our reviews that we did for a couple of the Criterion releases from last month. Of course, the new episode of Chasing Label just went up this past Monday.
yes,
That was a 4-hour tour where we got into
yeah.
more Criterion announcements, and there will probably be at least one more Chasing Labels episode for this calendar year, I think.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about it. It's up to you, but
Mm,
probably it's good. We'll see how it goes. We might not take
yeah,
a break at all. We'll see.
right, right. It's because yeah, we usually take the second half of December off, but so there will be probably no unwatched pile for December. I don't
We'll
think there
see.
typically is.
We'll see. All
Okay.
right, guys. Later, and hey, keep on watching them movies.
I know I will.